Hey, what is good, everybody? Welcome to Wick-it Rules. This is episode 6. Today I'm going to be taking a funky drum break and showing you how to layer it into your beat using sidechain compression. So, without any further ado, let's get right into it. I'm going to pull up Ableton's. Alright, so here's the break. What I'm going to do with the sidechain compression is turn down the main snare hits that's in the sample right now. Being that this drum break is all one sample, there's not a separate channel where I can just turn down the snare. So, I'm going to open up a brand new audio track. And this audio track is always going to be muted. All we're doing right now is making triggers for our sidechain. And I'm going to copy and paste each one of these snares onto our new track. Now, technically you can use any piece of audio. I could take a hi-hat and place them where I'm placing these, and I could eventually get the same thing, but I've found when you actually copy each one of these snares and sidechain it to itself, it's way easier to dial in really good results instantly. So let's go back to the track that the breakbeat is on and pull up a compressor. Activate sidechain mode. And this muted track we made, let's name that snare chain. And you know what, we'll just go ahead and make it another color. Keep things all aesthetically pleasing. Alright. So back to the compressor, I turned on the sidechain mode, and then where it says audio from, I'm going to select snare chain. Normally with sidechain compression, I would turn this ratio all the way up to infinite, but for this particular method, I actually like to leave it down here at 2:1. The attack I'm still going to bring all the way to the fastest, and I'm going to leave the release alone. And what this is going to do, this is the threshold right here. And I've basically made a volume slider for the snare drum by using this method. So hold on, let me turn this all the way up so it's not doing anything yet. And when I start to turn this threshold down, you're going to hear the volume of the snare go down. And right over here in the sample, there's a snare. And I'm wanting to match up the main snare hit with the volume of this. And it's about there. Let's bring this up just a little bit more. That sounds good. So here is the breakbeat sample without the compressor. And with it. So now we've made room to add our own snare sample. And this is the sample I'm going to use. And let me just copy and paste this over. So now we have this. And I want to point out real quick that all my main snare hits are at 0. And this one little extra middle note I've turned down by negative 1.86 dB. That's just going to make it sound a little bit more natural. And of course I'm going to want to add a big fat kick drum to this. And this particular break sample doesn't really have a lot of low end already, which sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. But either way, I'm going to pull an EQ up and roll off this low end. Maybe do it around there. And now that's going to make room for our kick drum. What I'm doing is I'm listening to the original sample and I'm going to duplicate what the kick drum on the original sample is doing with my new one. And now we have I'm also going to do some volume adjustments on these kick samples. The first one that's on the downbeat, I'm going to leave at 0 dB. And then the second one, I have at negative 2.41 dB. So it's kind of going duh-duh, rather than super robotic like it would sound if every single sample was the same. Same on these next two kicks. This one's at 0 dB. This one is at negative 1.95. So I mix it up just a little bit. This little pickup note right before the loop starts over, I turned all the way down to negative 4.39. Focus on just the kick drum for a second and kind of hear how those small volume adjustments give it a little bit more natural feel. And let's just add a real simple hi-hat. The only thing I want to say about the hi-hats that's just a good general technique is I have every other hi-hat a little quieter. So the first one is at 0 dB, and then the second one is at negative 3.72 dB, and then that pattern repeats. And the reason I'm doing this, if you think about a drummer playing a hi-hat, they're not going to be going t-t-t-t. That's what it would sound like if you put a sewing machine needle on a hi-hat. What the drummer's probably going to be doing is going t-t-t-t-t and putting accents on the notes. So the hi-hat sounds like this. And here is our beat. I'm going to do some quick group processing just to glue all this together. Here's a little OTT that everybody uses on everything, and with good reason. Here's without it. And then with it. I usually keep it around 20%. I added some reverb in parallel, and then I added some auto pan to just the reverb. So you can hear just the reverb going around the stereo field. And these little funky breaks, they just add so much to the beat. Like if I take this break out and just play the beat, listen to how boring it is. But then with it. And just for reference, let's listen to just the break by itself. And then what we added. All right, you guys, that about wraps it up for today. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you want me to make a video on. Peace.